Right, I'm back for another bash. Obviously, yesterday was my first video with the Cystic Fibrosis Warriors, or CF Warriors. I've actually had quite a few emails, which is overwhelming for the first video. Quite a few views, which I'm really happy with for a start. The purpose of these videos is to basically just raise awareness and share our personal issues and life-to-life daily basis living with cystic fibrosis. So one of the questions that keeps getting brought up quite frequently is what causes cystic fibrosis and what are the main factors between cystic fibrosis. So I decided, being the complete idiot I am, because I am, quite simply broad-minded, to have a little fun with this one. So, facts about cystic fibrosis. So fact number one. So fact number one, cystic fibrosis is caused by faulty genes in the CFTR genome. You can only get it if both parents are carriers of this faulty gene. Fact number two, and I've been asked this loads of times over the 42 years of my life, is cystic fibrosis contagious? In other words, can you get it like you get a common cold or through human touch and whatnot? Short answer to that is no, definitely not. I've been around hundreds of thousands of people in my lifetime, and never has anybody come up to me and said, you've given me cystic fibrosis. Fact number three. From birth, cystic fibrosis is caused as a mutation. So mutation basically means everybody living with cystic fibrosis is basically a mutant, which in theory makes us all superheroes. So if you look at it like that, it's a positive outlook to bring out online. Fact number four, cystic fibrosis shortens lifespan quite dramatically. If you was born in the earlier decades, so 60s, 70s and 80s, your life expectancy was literally below the 20s. Now, I believe the average lifespan of cystic fibrosis has gone up quite considerably with the new medication, what's come out, called Kaftrio, basically a game changer. Fact number five, Kaftrio does not work for all mutations of cystic fibrosis. This is a quite disappointing fact. With technology what's out today, but I'm sure the forensics behind it all are working hard to make it available to everybody. Number six, I believe I'm on number six. Why do we have to isolate ourselves away from other people with cystic fibrosis? The main point of this is basically cross-contamination. There's the viruses, what we get, and bacteria, what we get. So Staphylococcus aureus, Pseudomonas, B. capacia. If I had one of them, which I actually have two of them, thankfully not B. capacia, and another CF is totally clear, if I was in basically touching distance of that person, I could potentially harm them, and vice versa if they had a more serious bacteria. So we try and stay safe when we have hospital appointments or admitted into hospital. We are in our own rooms normally in the UK. And it was quite grueling and daunting because there's no place like home, to be honest with you. The hospital I go to, which is Nottingham City University Hospital, they literally give everything to me on a plate, but there's still no place like home. So I am very reluctant to be admitted when I am quite capable of administering my own medications. And that leads me on to the next fact. From a very age, we are all taught to administer our own medications. We basically become, I'd say, physicists or chemists or whatever the correct terminology is. So in my early 20s, I was taught how to administer my own IV antibiotics. And I was allowed to go home because I was deemed responsible to do so. Unfortunately, that's not the case for everybody, depending on how much they need to be monitored and whatnot. Fact number 8 or 9, I can't remember, I can't count, do apologise. Fertility. I've been sent a quite concerning email about fertility. Has fertility improved with the new drug coming out? In cases that I have read within women, I would say yes, but there's no overwhelming evidence of this. In men, there's still a 95% chance that we are infertile. We can have children with IVF treatment, but in the UK, unless it's like a lottery system. So I once went for IVF, but because my partner at the time had children, it would have meant I had to pay thousands of pounds for it. To me, I think that's quite shameful. You should never have to put a price on life, but it is what it is, and I accepted it for what it is back then. I am lucky enough to have 2 children of my own with my partner. They're not my biological children, but it is good enough for me. I'm still their dad. And that's basically some of the facts that we have. Now, some of the facts where I kind of take the mickey with my partner quite a bit is she'll ask me to go and get something, and I'll the coughing and the wheezing and everything like that, and I'll say, I'm too tired, you'll have to go and get it. I do use things for my advantage, but basically I just can't be arsed. We do have quite a strange relationship, me and my partner, in the fact that we do basically take the mickey out of each other every day, and there's a lot of banter in our relationships. We have fun, which stops me from getting down. She really is an amazing person. So, moving on to the next, I had an email sent to me about relationships with cystic fibrosis. Have I ever struggled to maintain a relationship with cystic fibrosis? And if so, what did I do? So, I've been in quite a few serious relationships. One in particular comes to mind was a girl from school. I was head over heels at the time with her, and if you remember my last video, I mentioned how the doctors said that I can't have children, and it comes to my later years in the school, and I ended the relationship through no fault of her own. She didn't do anything. I just felt, with the knowledge that had been given to me over a set of years, that I would become a burden, and I don't want her to be my carer. I don't feel good enough in this relationship. There's nothing that if I'm unable to work in later years, it's going to make her struggle. And in my eyes at that time, she didn't deserve that. I still talk to this person on the odd occasions. She's happily married with a child and doing really, really well. Although it hurt her at the time, she fully understands the situation I was in at the time. In other situations, there's relationships where I've started to get into a relationship with somebody, and so-called friends and people have turned around and told these people, well, he's going to die soon, he's not going to give you the life you want, blah, 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 blah. Complete horseshit, if I'm quite honest with you. People you'll find with cystic fibrosis will always have the thought process, I find, that you tell us we can't do something, we make it our job to prove to you that we can. And there's a lot of discrimination that goes on to everybody with disability. However, you strive and you meet these targets, and then we look for the next target and the next target and the next target. So the relationship I'm in right now, I've been with Claire for 3 years, and she fully understood everything I had. I played darts around the world with her dad, and he obviously realised we was getting together, and he didn't warn her as such. He just said, look, it's not going to be easy. I've been in hospital a couple of times, I've been in bed, and each time Claire has stepped up to the plate when needed. She's found me on the floor, she's seen me coughing up blood, and it's never phased her once. My children are also really important in this. They all support in my decision making and what I do. So my advice would be, never lower your expectations to them. If they can't accept you for who you are, then they are not worth it. They are shadow-minded people. I know that the best way to deal with a relationship personally with cystic fibrosis is be open and honest. Don't hide the secret. I used to hide my illness from partners. Don't hide what you've got, because at the end of the day, we should all be proud of what we got, because every day we're surviving this terrible illness, and it makes us, as in my title, warriors. It makes us heroes, it makes us ambassadors, it makes us important, because we are fighting on a daily basis and not only surviving but doing well. You know, there was times in the 80s where we was fighting and losing a battle, but now we're winning every battle. So if potential girlfriends, boyfriends, husbands, wives can't see that in you and admire your, shall I say, balls of steel, then they're the ones that aren't worth your time. So that's my advice on the relationship side of things. You don't have to take my advice. It's just just one of those things. It's my personal life experiences. A friend of mine who I know with cystic fibrosis, who's still alive, thankfully, from the same village as me, it took her ages and ages to conceive, to have a baby. She did it through the IVF way. And her husband was absolutely fantastic. And you know something, people like that, they're my heroes. Because not only does it take somebody special to put up with an illness like this and go through it the same way we go through it, it's important to reach that understanding of, yeah, we've got this disability, but you know what? I'm not perfect, and neither is anybody else. So yeah, if you like what you see, if you agree or disagree with what I'm saying, each to your own. You've all got your own opinions, and it's great that we all have our own opinions. I'm just doing these videos to help me. And do you know something? Since yesterday, I did this video, and I seen how many people viewed it, and I thought, do you know something? I actually feel better about myself for getting a lot off my chest. And I advise you all do the same. Go out and talk to somebody. Don't face this alone. So that being said, I want to get in contact with quite a few companies. I'm in close relationships with Mind through the Disability Darts thing, and I'm also in close relationships with Bottled Up Blokes. So obviously this is just for the men. They are a fantastic company. They look after the mental health between everybody, both relatively, so I say, normal people, and they look after me. It's unreal the work they do. So the answer to success is embrace what we have, because as I said yesterday, if you don't embrace it, you're going to sit there in 5 years time going, I wish I'd have done this, or I wish I'd have done that. You know, one of my biggest regrets is, and I'm sure it's the same for many other people with cystic fibrosis, is not taking this illness seriously when I was in my teens. You know, I wanted to be young, wild, free. I wanted to go out and party every night. You know, made poor life choices. The treatment didn't seem important to me back then. You know, the tablets, which I've always took anyway, but the nebulizer side of things, I just felt it was a burden and took up too much of my time. Now, you know, my wife to be, she's like, get your nebulizers done. We'll wait. We'll do this. Don't worry about it. They will wait for us. If they're important, then they'll wait. You know, and I'm now in a completely different mindset over the last couple of weeks where I can go, do you know something? All them other people in the past, relationships as well, are now irrelevant. They don't matter to me anymore. And they never did really anyway, because 95% of the time I ended a relationship because I seen what they were. You know, with one relationship, just going into briefly, I was in hospital. I was awaiting a lung transplant, believe it or not, before the Kaftrio came out, and she went out as if it didn't matter. It was actually my ex-wife, and she is my ex-wife for that reason. So, yeah. That being said, tomorrow's topic, if I get time to do it tomorrow, because at the minute I'm up against it again, I'm going to go on about childhood and cystic fibrosis. So this is going to be for all your parents who are new to cystic fibrosis and don't know what to expect, what the challenges are going to be, and whatnot. I've had a very, very long email sent to me, and thank you very much. It was quite forthcoming and challenging. I read it this morning and I thought, well, actually, I think, to the person, if you watch it today, I think you've been quite let down by quite a few people with not enough advice, not enough input, you know, and I understand your concerns and I understand you're very afraid. So I'm going to look into things quite properly tonight get the research. I'm going to actually talk to my physiotherapist. I said to her message earlier on, and she's going to send me the message later, and see what I can dig up. So that's what's coming tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching as always. It does mean the world. Like I say, if you like what you see, subscribe. It's completely free. I don't get paid for this, and I wouldn't take a penny anyway, to be fair. It's not about that, it's about raising awareness. So, that being said, I'm going to go because I'm rambling on, and I try and make these videos 15 minutes and 15 minutes only, and I've gone over. So thank you for watching, God bless, stay safe.